Hey, welcome to the new channel, Good Time and Tools. I decided to separate me working on things from the original channel, Good Times, to where whenever y'all click on each one, you already know what y'all watching. So let me go ahead and take y'all off to the project I'm working on right now for a good man named Mike. That really is a good old boy. So Mike brought me, I want to say, I don't remember the year. I know it's a 610 Kawasaki Mule. It's smoking a little bit out the tailpipe. He did bring me a top end kit, so I started tearing it apart yesterday, and it's really not hard at all to get to it. You pull off the seat, you pull off the air box, the belt box breather, you know, nothing really too hard. So I started tearing apart this bike, and I found the cylinder doesn't separate from the motor. So with that being said, the whole motor has to be pulled off the bike now, but the whole back of the bike actually comes apart from the bike itself. In a little bit, you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, let me go ahead and get back to this bike, and then I'm gonna bring you along. So y'all better see what I'm doing.
All right. Welcome to Good Times.
Alright, so an update. Now, whenever you're doing this, the exhaust comes out in a single piece. So you don't have to separate the muffler from the exhaust tubing itself. Undo it from the head. Once you pull the bed off, the bed's just these two clips. So you got this cotter pin. Pull the cotter pin out. It's actually not hard. It was really easy to pull these pins out. It could be a little pain in the ass to get the cotter pin out, but when you pull it out, put one hand on the bed, and then you can like get the weight off the pin, and the pin just pulls out. Now just be watchful when you undo whatever one you start off, the second one, whenever you undo it, now just watch, the weight will fall, and the bed will be coming down. So just be watchful of that. Now you're gonna have some brake cables. You got these two brake cables. All you do is unthread it. It does slide up. So these two grooves, they slide in here. Well, the brake handle itself pulls on both of them. Each one's for each wheel, you know, that wheel and that wheel, of course. So you undo it, get some slack, pull it out from the bottom or the top, however you feel. And so these two are out the way, because whenever you detach the back of the bike, this stays with the bike. It's actually the bottom. Everything on the bottom rolls out. So you undo that, then you have these two for your gear selector and your high and low. You undo those. I undid it at the bracket. So there's two bolts down here. I don't know if you can see them. Yeah, it'd be hard. So you got these two bolts, and you got these two right there. So you just undo that, take the cable off the arm, and then that's it. So you got this plate right here. You take these two bolts off, pull that plate off. I'm gonna be taking this assembly off, and it is one bolt right here, a 12mm, and it's one bolt. You gotta move this back right there. This will come out the way. So I am looking to take the starter off. The starter's two bolts, 12mm right here and a 12mm at the bottom. So those two will be coming off. I'm gonna take the starter completely off.
I said to myself, you cannot wait and see. I didn't know she already had a plan for us.
So on this Kawasaki 610 Mule, I finally got the motor on it, and you can actually separate the motor. I mean the chassis where the motor sits at, you can actually separate it from the main frame and slide it back. It's a little easier to do, but you can't put the motor on without having to do that. You take your back wheel off. You go ahead and take your back wheel off, and they can actually, you know, maneuver it through this little gap right here. But I'm gonna go ahead and start putting everything back on this motor. The motor is completely rebuilt. Of course, you've seen the last one. I got a new belt, all new service kits for it, and I have this bearing carrier for the Driveshaft. See this bearing carrier right here? You can buy it in a whole assembly, and I'm gonna go ahead and replace it. I don't know how bad it was. I didn't want to deal with it, so I'm gonna go ahead and unbolt it. It looks like it just unbolts these 4 bolts, and you should better just pull it out. So I got these 4 bolts done. Whoever worked on this before, like I said, they worked. Messed up these 2 bottom ones, so I'm gonna have to retap and rethread those. But to pull it out goes this way. And the draw shaft has to be moved. To take that off, or to move it, what I'm doing is coming to the front of it, undoing. There's 3 bolts. You can see on the bottom, backside, there's gonna be 1. There's gonna be 1 up top right here, and 1 on the bottom. And then you just undo those. You should better take the diff, slide it enough to pull that housing out.
Wait.
I might have to put it on my side. Let me try it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is. Push it to me. Okay. Get it ready to stab on your side? Is it ready?
I mean, it's gonna have to come back
hold on.
more. Let me go like this. Maybe I could do it better.
Okay, keep pushing back on it. I'm gonna move the diff back my way.
Okay.
You got it on?
Yep. All right.
Prison in itself, I know. Just stuck between the bars. The strong have scars, but you can never go back. Struggle to survive, and you're still alive. Carry on. Even if you've been misled and all of your dreams are dead, carry on. Even if you can't forget, take a quick look and settle your regrets.
So after a little while of going through it, making sure I'm putting it back together right, good thing is I do have pictures of while I was taking it apart. It just helps the process of putting it back together so much better. And there's a few things that I kind of did, kind of replaced a few hoses, but other than that, it went pretty smooth. I went back completely stock with everything. Nothing fancy about this bike. I mean, I kind of like it, a nice little bike. But let me show y'all what it looks like, because I'm about to get to the step of rotating it. I'm rotating in that all circulation, but in case y'all doing it, I'm gonna show you how all your linkages goes, you know, just to where you can get an idea when you're putting it back together. You can look at this video for a reference point. Now the belt box cover, you kind of want to do it. It's gonna be kind of hard. The exhaust has to be off, and the shock, me and my old lady had to take the shock off, move it out the way, because we had to finesse the big side in and then maneuver it that way. But that's the way you want to do the belt box. And I didn't use the tool to separate to open up the secondary. I went ahead and just put them both on. I slid the primary just on, and I was able to get the secondary on and out, finesse them like that onto the motor. I started the bolts, and then I slowly worked each one, and then I torqued those down. So the carburetor, it took me a little bit to figure out exactly how it went. Well, I wouldn't say that long, but I got the carburetor all mounted up, as you can see. So you got your governor right here, you got your choke right here, and your vacuum. Now it goes to the breather box, it goes to the little vacuum fuel pump. It actually gets vacuum from the crankcase itself. So we have the little breather for the belt box. We have the exhaust, you know, the rear snorkel for the belt box, or exhaust, you can say. We have the battery, all your connections. There's not really much electrical in this thing. You know, all new maintenance items. I got the plug out, of course, because I'm rotated freely, but I'm at this point now where I can go ahead and get the oil circulating, and then I should be able to start it within a few minutes. All right, so with the Mule 610, I finally got it done. Well, not done completely, but almost done. I got the motor together. Now there is one issue that I've been fighting. Let me turn this fan off. There is one issue that I was fighting. So they got a little, I guess it's a breather canister coming from the crankcase going to the diaphragm fuel pump. So this one cracked. The plastic was just brittle. It's an older bike. It's common. So I was trying to figure out what can I do. Well, I put the vent line straight to the thing, to the fuel pump, and I noticed that it was putting out too much. So it was too much pressure going to it, putting out too much CFM. I mean, too much fuel pressure for the carburetor. And it was actually backing up, leaking the fuel pump itself, and it was feeding back actually in that vent line. I'd have to hurry and pinch it with my hands and pull it off, drain the fuel. But what I did is, good thing that I do keep as a mechanic, you keep junk drawers and then all the miscellaneous junk over the bikes that you say, hey, I might need this, throw it in there, you know. I need to give me a big old box to keep that stuff in, because it's starting to take over my toolbox. So I went through it, and just so happened I found a hose, and I seen a black vent cap. I mean check valve. Like, man, let me make sure that was what it is. So I took my compressor, blew a little bit of air through it. It blew to the one side, then blew to the other. I said, perfect, that's what I need. Well, the orifice in it is small enough to keep my pressure where I need it. It's enough for the bike to feed the carburetor like I should, and it's holding back enough pressure to where it doesn't feed back to the motor itself, because you don't want that gas inside that oil. So I got that situated, got the bike running, went tested around the house probably 3-4 times. Came back, started doing the brakes, found out there is a brake line that runs underneath the body itself. This starting to leak. I was like, man, what the hell is that leaking underneath? Sure enough, that brake line. But I did adjust his brake lever, so I can have at least those brakes. But the bike does run and drive. She actually purrs pretty smoothly now. So she actually does start pretty good. Let me go ahead and see if she won't act up in front of me. That's what I'm talking about right here. So you see that little check valve? Now it's not gonna feed fuel back into the motor. And as you can see those also pads? Yeah, I moved the bike back to make sure that's what it was, but that's sure enough the brake line's leaking. Other than that, it's doing so, it's good so far, so I'm gonna take it on a test drive. It actually runs pretty good. He's gonna try to, whoever the guy this is for, he's trying to give me one. Some things you may have questions on how things are put together. I know I did. Good thing I did take pictures of when I was pulling apart, so make sure you do that as well. It just makes life so much easier. But this is the bike. It came out pretty nice. Now the seat is getting redone, and I'm gonna ask him if he wants me to replace that vent line, that you know what I mean, brake line. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get this bike wrapped up, and I'll thank y'all again for watching, and I'm gonna see you on the next Good Time and Tools.
The sun is coming up, are you ready to go? We can take a ride, we can take it slow. Your will is my law, I'ma let you be the boss, 'cause I'll go where you go. I'll take you to a place we can see it all. Step off the edge, I can break your fall. Your will is my law, I'ma let you be the